Hello, my darlings. Welcome back to People of Theatre. And today I'm really happy to get a chance to talk to Roy Alexander Weise.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries at all.
And so let's start with off stage. I know that you like poetry, I think, and you write poetry.
Yeah. I don't really tell very many people that I do.
Oh, thank you very much. And you keep it secret. What kind of poetry do you write? When did you start?
I feel like I've always written poetry, like as a child. I used to be really into music. And I felt like there was always a kind of poetic / story like element to songs that I used to write as a child. Like, I mean,
so you started like when you were a child?
Really small, yeah.
Wow,
Found
so I can't believe it, like a child writing poetry.
Yeah, like, so I'd like play football outside and then come inside and write poems.
Look at that, football and poetry. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's life.
I mean, now it's more just like a bit of a release, I guess. Sometimes I feel a little bit, I don't know, there's an element as a director, as a freelance director, to being like very responsive to what comes to you.
Right.
And I feel like I have like a little bit of ownership, I guess, over my own expression.
To write something that comes from yourself.
Yeah, that really comes from myself, I guess. I don't like sit there with a calligraphy set or anything in an ink pot. I just do it on my phone.
Oh, sweet. So now take your phone and please, can you read like a poem for me?
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
Okay. Right, I'm gonna put my tea down.
Please, yeah, get comfy.
Okay. I'm nervous.
So much pressure. No, it's just between me and you.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
That's
between.
it.
Okay, cool. When you wake up, brush teeth, wash pits, scratch balls, iron on, creases out, feel fresh, open mouth and smile, and you don't know why, it's the universe. When you leave out, open wallet, £5, don't remember, nice surprise. Open flies, pull 'em up, no one saw. Sun beaming, birds galore, flowers ping out, concrete shimmering, reflecting you. So you look up, through the shadows, thick smog, clouds of people making fog, but you look fly, and I smile, and I don't know why, it's the universe. Tesco Express, cinnamon bagel, 2 bananas, contactless, hate contactless, surprise debt. Look outside, floor is wet. Rain had fallen, and all of 2 seconds. Run for bus, watch your step. Something mushy, something stinks, something dutty. What's that stink? Stamp it out, scrape the curb, keep it moving. Scent still there, find a puddle, splash about. Fool's nostalgia, magic roundabout. First girlfriend, first love. Sing in the rain, like boys to men, from boy to man. In just 2 secs, flashing memories, and I smile, and I don't know why, it's the universe. Look, watch, getting late, hot step, a lot on plate. Lost tourists, mums, prams, tube station, engineering plans, train delay, coffee sip, read the metro, world shit, big tornado, economy dip, school shootout, baby bit, paedophilia, celebrity fit, police shooting, kid hit, Black Lives Matter, shoot the stars, horoscopes, play Sudoku, pencil broke, 8:30, 8:45, 8:52. Get outside, dust it off, ready to grind. Weigh the world, feeling heavy. Weigh the world, feeling heavy. Weigh the world, feeling heavy. Shut eye, fist tight, breathe deep, count 10. You're the one, best believe, you're the best. Only you can do you. Sun back, rainbow, little robin, game show. Play it well, play it fair, play it your way, take a dare. Enough babbling, 8:56, and I smile and I don't know why. It's the universe and it's not even 9 o'clock yet.
There's so much in it, actually. You talk about it's. Did you remember the moment when you actually wrote it?
I feel like I must have written it on a bus or on a train or something in the morning. But I wrote this maybe 2 years ago.
Wow.
Or something. And I guess it was just about I don't know if this is what everybody experiences, but I feel like I get up in the morning and even just on the way to work, I feel like I already experienced such a huge roller coaster of emotion. Also, I hate reading newspapers in the morning, or I hate watching the news in the morning. I just find it so depressing. And it was kind of I guess my journey of I wake up, before I leave the house, I try and be as positive as I can. But there's so many different energies and forces that you've got to navigate when you leave the house, and
especially in a city like London.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much going on, even in just in a 1 minute walk. There's so much going on around.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Brilliant.
Really.
Wow, thanks so much for sharing. My God,
Thank you.
I feel like the next chapter will never be as intense. Thank you very much.
No worries
Very
at
nice.
all.
Ready to actually then move on to staging it. Winner of the JMK Young Director Award in 2016 and nominated at the 2018 Evening Standard Theatre Awards for the Emerging Talent category. It was very long. First of all, do you find these tags, I think, of sort of young director, emerging director, sort of representing your career, your state of mind at the moment of what you do?
I feel like now maybe I understand what it is to have emerged, maybe, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like people can be emerging for a very long time.
That's the thing.
And I feel like that's such a disservice actually to the brilliant contribution that some directors are making to our theatre landscape. And just because you're not directing a show in the West End or at the National and on a big stage, it doesn't mean that you're not doing a great job. And somehow emerging as a term kind of has connotations of still learning, not quite there yet. Exactly. Almost there, good, but almost there, kind of. I don't know, but it's nice to be recognized. I try not to put too much focus on that. I'm all about the audience and giving an audience.
Why did you feel it was very important for you to sort of to apply to the JMK Awards?
Well, I mean, the truth is that I kind of realized that I wasn't going to be able to stay in theatre if I didn't go for one of these awards and win it. I can't fund my own work. I still struggle even now. It's really, really difficult. The amount of time that you put into directing, your mind consumes a piece of work, your mind is consumed by a piece of work for months, a year, years. And you get one feed that kind of reflects rehearsals, tech, a few meetings before. In some places, the National pay really well, but a lot of other places, but and they should,
it's very reassuring.
It's the National Theatre of Great Britain, but there are a lot of theatres that with all great intentions, probably would love to pay better, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like directors really, really struggle sometimes.
So now that you're like full-on director,
Yeah.
what's your idea of directing? Your perspective on the role?
I try and put myself in the position of an audience and think, you know, what would they be thinking at this point and this point and this point, or what might they be thinking, or try and craft a journey. So that is one thing, to be like the first audience member. That feels like really important to me. And then I think another thing that I think is important is that I'm a leader, I'm a guide to other people, to make sure that that we have some sense of like knowing where we're going. It's interesting, like a lot of people think that directors are supposed to be like visionary, and I have visions. I think everybody has visions. It's called imagination, but I try not to allow my visions to lead a process. In a way, I kind of know what a play feels like when I read a play, and I allow that emotional sensation to drive the making of the production. So, and it's my job in a way to respond. I go, yes, that's really clear. No, that's not really clear. Actually, I don't really like that. But I feel like I'm quite open, and I allow people to, you know, I think more brains is better than one, for sure, I think.
So we mentioned about the JMK Award that you won in 2016 with Katori Hall's The Mountaintop at the Young Vic, and which was a great play about Martin Luther King's last day before being assassinated in 1968. I was wondering, like, why did you feel you wanted to do this play?
I mean, the way that I came to it is that I wanted to win the award.
Okay.
And that play was on the list. And I had never read the play before. And I remember buying a copy, and it arrived. And I think I was working at the Royal Court at the time. And I was like, okay, I just need to read it this morning on the way to work. Well, like I woke up early and was like, I'm gonna read it before I get to work, so that after work I can start on my application. And I basically, I got up, had a shower, started reading the play, got dressed a bit, carried on reading the play, started eating breakfast, reading the play, walking up this massive hill where I used to live in Streatham, walking up this massive hill, reading the play. And then I got on a bus, and I took this bus and arrived in Clapham, like near Clapham Common, because I used to get the 137 to Sloane Square. And for some reason the bus stopped, and like everyone had to get off. It terminated there for some reason, so I got off.
As it usually happens in London.
Yeah, of course. And I arrived, I'd like got to like near the end of the play, and it was like the moment where Martin Luther King is stood on the metaphorical mountaintop, looking out at the beauty of like what the world could be. And I looked around and I just burst into tears. And I thought, 50 years ago, I wouldn't be sat on that bus. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been stood in Clapham looking around at like an exciting melting pot of different people in this city, but also recognizing that there's so much more work to do in terms of like equality in our world. And so at that moment I kind of was like, wow, yeah, this play has to be a call to action. And that was when I decided, this is the one I'm gonna do.
And you did great, as you got your award. Great, yeah.
Thank you.
So the play actually had been staged before. What do you think were your sort of distinctive decisions that really made a difference in your production? Because I thought it was quite different from many others.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never seen the play. I've only ever seen my production of it,
Right.
which is always usually helpful. But because then I know that my ideas are coming from my understanding of the text and my kind of instinctive choices and the team that I'm with who make the production with me. But I felt like one of the things that was really important is that, like dramaturgically, the character Kamei, the maid, it feels like she drives that story. There is no story if she's not in that room. But also the idea that she had been elevated to such a level of status, that she could match Dr. King and challenge Dr. King, kind of made me feel like, who are we to kind of like idolize him actually and make him a demigod? That in a way stops us somehow from being as active as we might be able to be individually, because we're constantly relying on somebody to do it. So I guess in my production, in our production even, it felt really important to allow the audience to feel an affinity with Kamei. They had to feel connected to her. They had to feel like she has lived in our world as well as in that time.
You once said, it's insulting to not represent the London around your audience.
Did I?
You did. How do you cast?
How do I cast? I cast carefully, I think. But I also try to cast bravely too. I'm really excited about seeing people in roles that we wouldn't have imagined, and really like shattering the molds and ideas about who should be playing what kinds of parts. Often in new writing, it's often prescribed, but where I have a choice, sometimes I do try to challenge. I want every piece of theatre that I make to be a piece of theatre that my nephews and niece can come and watch and see themselves, that my family can come and watch and see themselves, and see other people too. So I tried to cast as widely as possible. But unless there is like a really, really strong political reason, I probably won't ever cast a show with just white people in it.
And what about colorblind casting, which we should say what it actually is, which is basically casting regardless of the ethnicity of the people, the actors?
Yeah, I think colorblind casting is weak, in my opinion, because when I look at you, there is a history that I know that you know that can't be forgotten as much as when you look at me.
Right.
And putting anybody on stage that is not, a white middle class body is political and comes with so much. And I don't want people to ignore my stories. I don't want people to be blind to my stories and my experience. I want to be seen, and I want to be seen in a fair way and in a complex way. Because colorblind casting is like, oh, we'll cast the two other people in this massive cast of 20 for this big classical show. We'll cast 2 black people and an Asian person in, I don't know, 1800s Russia or in some, I don't know.
Ignoring actually their history, as you say, their heritage, the elements that they could actually bring in.
Absolutely. And it's not like, it's just, because I think black actors get confused when you cast them like that, because they don't know what voice they're supposed to use. They don't know if they're supposed to be them or if they're supposed to be Shakespearean black, or it's just confusing, and I feel like it's quite negligent of directors to cast people in that way, because the conversation is more complex than that, and you should know. You should think about why you're casting a black person in that part, or an Asian person in that part, or a disabled person in that part. You should be bothered to go through the complexity of that kind of conversation. You have to be, because without doing that, you're ignoring the value of that person's life, the value of that person's experience, actually, if you're not willing to have that conversation. And I don't really care how difficult it is for you or not, because people don't think about how difficult it is for people to live those lives.
Right.
You know, uncomfortable conversations don't last forever. And actually, hopefully, there's progress out of uncomfortable conversation. It's the wrong way around.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right.
Thank you so much. I think all of them will be. So keep doing that.
That's okay.
Thank you. Nine Night, amazing play by Natasha Gordon that I saw at the National Theatre, and I loved it. It was an intense night.
Thank you.
I laughed, I cried, I don't know, like, it was so much going on that night. How did you come across this play, and how did the production come about, actually?
Well, I got a call from the National Theatre, basically.
Good, fair enough. That happens then. They do call you if you're a director.
They do call sometimes. And they were like, oh, there's this play, we want you to read it. I'm like,
yes!
But I also was like, please, God, I hope that I like this script. Because if I don't, then I can't do it. I was like, you know, some people, I don't know, some people like take the jobs because of the kudos or because of the money. And then I'm like, if it doesn't like hit me here, then I can't do it. If I don't live in the play somehow, then I can't do it. But I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
If you had to sum up in 2 sentences what the play is about and is.
How would I? Okay.
Sounds like a test.
It is a little bit. I would say that Nine Night is a story about a British Jamaican family who are dealing with the loss of the matriarch when the grandmother Gloria dies, and it's about the way in which the family navigate this death and navigate all of the truths and history that unravels when an event like a death happens. I mean, firstly, I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really, really funny. I could see different members of my family in all of the different scenes. And then I found it really, really moving as well. But the thing that I loved the most is that, like, you know, they were just a family and they were black, and then there weren't any stories of like racism or whatever. It was just a family, and that was great. Like, to see, that's what my life is like, actually. Like, should you just get up, like have arguments with your family maybe, and you know, get on with it. I learnt over time, actually, how important it was that she had written 3 black women over the age of 40 in the lead roles in that play. Do you know what I mean? That I suddenly went, wow, actually, we see it in American plays all the time, but black British stories, we don't see that very often.
Sure.
Very often at all. So I came to learn about her very extraordinary, quiet, brilliant, revolutionary power. Natasha's, yeah.
Brilliant.
And so it felt really, really special and important to be a part of that, you know, in that way. But also, like, how deep it delves into some of the cultural elements as well. That felt really important to see on a main stage in this country, because I feel like because of migration, people have not always been able to hold on to the essences of who we are. And I felt like, you know, the cultural aspects of the Nine Night tradition and the rituals would allow people to see that, you know, Jamaican people are more than just jerk chicken and red stripe beer and rare nephew rum, even though that's a huge part of the culture as well. But you know, those are things that can't be bought and sold. Those are things that live inside you and that come from your ancestors, you know, and that feels really, really important, that link.
I've been asking you many questions about race right now, and I feel like I wouldn't necessarily ask those questions to a white director. Am I being racist, or you think it's still very important to actually talk about these issues?
You're not being racist, no, because I think racism, I guess, is about the way in which you would use your like whiteness to overpower me, and I don't feel like you're doing that right now.
That's good.
But I do think that it is important that conversations are had like this. It would be lovely if there was a day where that wouldn't be, you know, the prime focus of interviews that I do, but until that day, I'm happy to talk about it because I feel like enough conversations aren't being had, and enough conversations with the right people, you know, like conversations across different groups of people. That is so key to how progress is made. I don't know, it feels like a really important time to think about the way in which power is distributed and think about like actually what we can do to sustain this change. Like, you know, a lot of people don't realize that board members have a lot of power. Board members have so much power in terms of like who runs our theatres, which consequently, you know, affects who we see on stage and what stories we see on stage.
And they're not the best example of diversity, I'm afraid.
Boards, no, they're not. They're definitely not. But also something that is interesting is that even in our conversation feels like a microcosm of like bigger things within our industry. Like, you know, nobody really asks me if I want to do, you know, a Shakespeare or a Chekhov, or nobody asks me if I want to do those plays.
Would you do those plays?
Would I? Yeah. Right now, I'm desperate to do a classic play, a big classic play written by a white man who's dead, like the opposite of what I am.
Because I thought you were much more keen on new writing.
New writing has been where I've been able to find like my own soul and spirit alive in a piece of work.
Sorry.
New writing has been where I've been able to find my own soul and spirit alive in a piece of work, but I feel like it's really ignorant for people to believe that the only thing I understand is like what it is to be a marginalized black man, because I'm a human being before that, and I fall in love and I feel tired and I feel heartbroken and I feel angry and all of the other things that everyone else does before political things enter, you know, all of that. So, you know, and also it's really interesting because nobody ever asks those questions about when a white director is directing a play about the black experience. It just happens. And it's like, oh, well, the actors are there, and that doesn't make any difference to me, actually. Because ultimately you lead everything as the director. You have the final say. Sometimes it's like the tiniest details of beats actually that give us the real detail and nuance of an experience. And if you don't have that and you don't know that, then I can't trust that it's gonna come through just because you've got black actors working with you. And I also feel like when a black director works with black actors, I think they feel more free sometimes to be themselves and to be really honest and not have to live up to the standards that you know, people might believe are being held of them and how they should behave. You know, people can just be themselves.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I like it. So went really well. So welcome to Q&A Spritz with Roy Alexander Weise. Talking about drink, what's your favorite drink actually?
What's my favorite drink? I really like whiskey.
Whiskey, oof. God,
Lefroy whiskey. You hate whiskey?
I hate whiskey, I can't have it. It's too strong.
Really?
I can't even swallow it, it's too much.
Yeah. And rum, I like rum.
No, not even rum.
What?
That's because...
So what do you drink?
When I was 18 for my birthday, I got drunk with rum and coke. And I think that from that moment...
Mentally, you're like...
Yeah, like, no.
That's like Jack Daniels.
Ugh.
That whiskey, I'm like... I can drink it now, but too much of it makes me feel sick, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well...
What's your favourite drink?
Aperol Spritz, here we are. So, actually, are you rich yet?
No.
No! Oh, God.
No.
Oh, God.
Not at all. Very far from.
Very far from.
I mean, I don't know what is rich. I'm happy.
Right, which is quite rich.
Yeah. But I mean, funnily enough, for all that I'm working, it doesn't feel like there's a huge difference. But maybe I'll just have to go and work in film and TV one day.
Okay, we shall see. We shall see. We were mentioning the JMK Award, which didn't really come easy, because I think you applied
3 times.
3 times actually to get it. How do you make peace with failure?
I'm
not saying that it was a failure not to get it before, but just in general terms.
How do I make peace with failure? I don't fail. There's always something to win in every scenario, in every situation. I think you just have to be like open and ready to look for the wins and the lessons, in my opinion. Yeah. Right. So I got a lot from all 2 of the times that I didn't win the actual award, but yeah.
Great. I didn't tell you that. Yes, that's what I do.
Okay, cool.
Good. Yes. Now you're a theatre director. In your perspective, what makes a great actor?
What makes a great actor? Somebody that is a good, like an amazing collaborator, likes to work with people. Somebody that is great at telling the story that's on the page and not the story that they want to tell.
That's hard. What's the best advice anyone ever gave you?
I think it might actually have been maybe my grandma. You know, she says stuff like count your blessings and other versions of that kind of phrase all the time. Because, you know, it's that thing of like, it's easy to notice that your glass is half empty, but not always as easy to notice that your glass is half full. So, yeah, the idea of like appreciating the things that you do have more than the things that you don't, or the things that you want. Sometimes like happiness is already sitting in front of you, I think.
Good. A very difficult question.
Oh God.
Which I really love.
Because you don't have to answer.
Exactly. But that actually is very funny. If you had a chance to take me on a date, where would you take me? Come on! It should be easy. I don't get it. It's not a hard question.
Where's a good place? You really like theatre, so I would say somewhere like Brasserie Zadel.
Whoa!
Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like quite classy, and they've got nice chandeliers, and it's like Hollywood theatre inspired, and it feels very like MGM movie.
Right, nice.
I feel like you'd like that.
I think so. I'm looking forward to it. Good. How about your favorite restaurant?
My favorite
I
restaurant.
guess in London.
My favorite
All kind
restaurant.
of food.
All kind of food. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know, actually. What's my favorite? I like all the restaurants.
Okay.
Like, no, my favorite restaurant is, I like Vapiano.
Vapiano. Okay.
Yeah. You like,
Which I think is in Soho.
yeah, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
There's loads, yeah.
Okay.
Have you never been?
I think I have.
I think you're probably suspicious because you're Italian, right?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah. Tastes good to me.
Oh, yes.
There's like, oh, good. It's got like gambretti in it.
Gamberetti, yes.
Gamberetti. Basically like pasta with like pesto and like spinach and prawns.
Right, I never had
Amazing.
that. So I can't judge.
You never had that dish ever?
No, not there in Vapiano.
Not in Vapiano. I love it.
And I don't eat gamberetti, to be honest. But
Really? You don't like prawns?
I don't like seafood. I don't like fish. I know. And I come from the sea. Like, I grew up by the sea. Basically, my hometown is by the sea.
Did you eat a lot of fishes when you were little?
No,
or maybe it was just sad seeing your pets go into the pot. Oh my God, I'm sorry. All the vegans. The vegans are going to kill me.
Yeah, no, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegan. You're safe now. Who's there? Who do you follow on Instagram?
Who do I follow on Instagram?
Couple of names.
What, like famous people?
No, it can be anyone. Like, you can say, like, I follow my cousin. I don't know. People that you think you are following.
One of my like best friends, Prince Vern, at Trini Vern. Michaela Cole, at Michaela Cole. Ronke Adekoluejo, excellent actress who was in Eric Kofi Abrefa, amazing actor. Who do I follow? Will Smith.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
I follow Maya Jama.
Okay, oh, yeah.
And then lots of random weird accounts.
That's what Instagram is.
That for. Like promote like black love and like it means a lot to me though.
Oh, I hear that. Good. Now let's get more political as usual, and let's talk about Brexit. I'm sorry, you're British. I need to talk about it. It's a question I ask to everyone, and you can't really not do that. For me, so imagine the camera over there.
Yeah.
Is a lever. What would you tell them?
What would I say?
Yeah, to them. They voted to leave.
Who voted to leave? I would say, I forgive you. For you know not what you do. Most of you didn't know what you were voting. But also that I wish that we could have had a conversation before you made that vote, because I feel like we actually have been manipulated hugely by our politicians and by our governments, because they obviously have shown that they don't actually even know what it means to leave either. It feels like a huge ego stunt and an even worse way to divide our country. And so it's really sad, but you know, I welcome you with open arms. I forgive you. I'd love to have a conversation with you and understand why you might have made that decision.
Wow, okay. I hope somebody's gonna get in touch with you for a conversation.
Please do. I might have to come with backup though. I'm joking.
Chin today. Chin, really. Right, yeah, next card.
You really like that.
So the first question now, I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's all random questions that, not really random, but questions that Proust was asked at that time, and he felt that those questions would reveal the personality of someone.
Oh God.
What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Enough money to survive and support my family, all of my family around me, somebody that I love around me and me being able to give to those people and support those people, I think.
That's happiness. What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
Oh God.
I know, that's a hard question.
I don't know. I think I've got a bit of an addictive personality.
Okay.
I think like
You shouldn't go further, but
I think like I get addicted to stuff like.
okay. I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah,
enough.
we can. Yeah, it's enough. What or who is the greatest love of your life?
I don't know. It's so hard.
I love these questions for that.
My mum, who is unfortunately no longer alive, but is like, yeah, I feel like in her living and in her passing, she continues and has given me so much of who I am today. And I'm really grateful for her adventurous spirit, and for her loving nature. And she was a bit wild, and I think I am too. And yeah, so that, yeah, I think my mum is the love of my life.
What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is dying and not feeling as if the world is going to change.
Yeah.
You asked me these questions. I'm just giving you my answers.
I am asking you these questions. Good. Because the next question would be, how would you like to die? So you just connected to the next question.
With my family around me and not in pain.
Sounds sensible. Where would you like to live?
Where would I like to live? I like where I live. I live in Brixton and I really like that. But then also I love places that start with B. So like Brooklyn, Berlin. Love those places as well. So maybe there too. I really like Brooklyn.
I love Brooklyn as well. And I love Berlin as well. I used to live in Berlin actually. Before London.
Would love to live there at some point.
What is your motto?
My motto? I don't know. It's like, yeah. No, what is my motto? Live your best life. Yeah. Yeah, live your best life.
And that's the end of it. No cards anymore.
Wicked.
We're done. We've done it.
Yes.
Roy, thank you very much for your time. For
No worries at all.
Theatre. And you guys, thank you very much for watching me, and do like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and love me on Instagram, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and do have a look at my website. And I'll see you next time. People of Theatre, from stalls to stage.